Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to play Resident Evil Requiem before it's anywhere near store shelves.
Ooh, so spooky. But apparently we're also playing it before it's anywhere near kind of being a full video game. I mean, yeah, it's still in development, but Bruce was kind of warning me before we started that there's not a whole lot of gameplay going on here, but that's okay. We still got plenty to talk about.
It's a really small section of the game starring Grace, the seemingly main protagonist. Other people have theorized that Leon is also a main protagonist in the game as well. I don't know. But either way, we get to play as Grace. And in this section, just so you're all aware, Grace doesn't do anything with weapons. The gameplay starts with her found on a hospital bed with a needle inside her. They're clearly doing some sort of experiment. Either they're taking your blood or putting blood in her, who knows. And then she has to escape. And she has to escape this hospital. And as the gameplay goes on, you'll see she's sort of in what looks like a mental asylum with like lots of gates. Clearly, like they're holding things in here. And so she has to escape this. She has to figure out, the Resident Evil puzzle of getting a key to get a fuse to open a gate, that whole thing. And it's all very survival horror. It is not you firing a gun. And it's very scary, by the way. Super scary, super dark. She has only a lighter. Lots of amazing lighting effects throughout when you're like walking through, and it's just there's like this really bright red light that like is constantly in your face, and you're just like, I can't see anything. So they do a really good job of establishing that Grace feels pretty helpless.
Yeah, it seems like you got to play we had talked about a demo like maybe a couple months back from Summer Game Fest where I got to sit in a theater and essentially watch a hypercut of, I think, the demo that Bruce got to play. So this is actually pretty fun because I had to tell it to him verbally and then he got to actually play it. So now we get to kind of compare notes across time. Yeah, you had mentioned the lighting effects, the good use of red. That's something that I had noticed too, is that the game's pretty monochrome. Like you're in this hospital, the walls are white, everything's dark. I guess blood red, of course, stands out against that. You see some like leather and some other like touches of brown and red. But yeah, when there's like a red caution light or a red alert light, and man, it makes everything look so ominous. I don't know if this is just because we've been talking about it yesterday in relation to Helldivers, but it reminds me of James Cameron's Aliens. There's a couple of shots in that are just lit by red light, and they look so cool and have like a very spooky atmosphere. Even if it doesn't feel like you're under attack right now, you still know that this isn't a safe place. So yeah, really masterful use of lighting. I'm kind of watching the demo as we're going, and one of the things that I really liked about the short clips that I saw, and now I'm seeing more fully, is that there's a lot of very pitch black hallways with very dim lights at the far end.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. I don't know. It really is. I don't know how the whole game's going to be, but this is a nightmare. And importantly, they said when we first sit down, they're like, you could switch between first and third person whenever you want. And so I did. In first person, these dark hallways are pitch black. You cannot see a thing. In third person, the character's a little more lit. So it's like it helps you a little bit to see what's going on. But if you want that fully immersive effect, you're going to go first person and you're not going to see shit. Like you don't know. I was just like sometimes walking into walls because I was like, I have no idea. There's also a couple of points in the demo where like the lights keep flashing on and off in a really ominous, terrible fashion. And in first person, you can't, like, you don't know what you're like, where the fuck am I doing? Like, so it did a really good job of making you feel like you were Grace and you didn't know where you were. You woke up from probably somebody hitting you on the head and now you're stuck. So that was a great job of immersing you in just a tiny little demo.
Yeah, okay, so I'm just seeing you swap to third person. I was really curious what that would look like, because yes, if it's pitch black and you don't even know where your character is and you're trying to like walk around in a space, yeah, I do see that like the character herself kind of has a little accent light. I thought that you had meant that maybe even the character was casting off a little light so that when you got near a wall or something, it would illuminate. But no, it's just the character herself you can kind of see, and then yeah, just blackness all around, and then whatever gets illuminated by these really ominous lights and stuff.
So all of this to say, you do run into a terrible creature. You run into a terrible creature, obviously, as you would in most Resident Evil games. Because I was like, well, this doesn't make any sense. What am I doing? Why am I walking around trying to find this? I'm trying to solve a puzzle. Who cares? Well, there's a nightmarish character that makes an appearance that's this basically incredibly huge lady who's a zombie. But like a mutated zombie, like the Resident Evil mutation zombie, who she's able to bust into ceilings and go through walls. So she's made little tunnels for herself in this mental asylum, and she's able to navigate where you are not able to navigate. And so at times, you're like, okay, I think I've escaped her. I'm gonna move on, and then she just busts through the wall. And you're like, fucking shit. And there's nothing you can do because you don't have a weapon or nothing. So you just got to walk away. And it's pretty cool, man. I can't wait to play this. I'm a huge fan of Village, so I'm really excited to play this too.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious if what we see in this demo will be the sort of thematic underpinnings of the whole game, which is trying to make you feel helpless again, as opposed to like, you know, Resident Evil 6, where you are Leon S. Kennedy backflipping and like slow-mo dodging bullets and surfing helicopters and stuff. I still have a fondness in my heart for how ridiculous Resident Evil can get. But this demo certainly wants to bring it back to being like alone and scared and vulnerable. And that, you know, gets kind of shown through the lighting and things like that, of making you feel like you have to walk down this horrible hallway and anything can get you. Another thing that is pretty obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway, is how like teeth focused this Mr. X, this villain that you're dealing with is. I mean, that's the monster's goal, right? It lumbers after you and it tries to grab Grace and eat her, just like full on consume her. And when you meet this monster for the first time, first of all, I really loved the fake out of the like dead zombie falling down on the ground and then the hand just grabbing it from the side. So good. And then, yeah, you see it underlit with the lighter, and then it like leans into camera showing you its teeth. And again, you get that sort of white and black and red color triad that they've got going on. But yeah, what's weird too is they're not like shark teeth. They're, I guess, more people teeth, but they're really long and creepy. So great design there. Boy, does that look awful. But I do wonder if that's like, is eating and like dental shit going to be sort of the thrust of this whole game? Because I feel like, what was it, Village? Well, Village and even Biohazard, to some degree, both were kind of about mutilation of Ethan's hands. That was, and even that kind of ramped up into absurd levels where he was just like gluing his own hand back on. Got very Sam Raimi at some point. But yeah, you would just like, your hands got mangled and chopped up and acid and caught on fire and stuff like that. So that was, I feel like, the kind of horror that they were going through with that, in addition to a lot of other things. So I wonder if this one's all about being eaten. That sounds so stupid for a Resident Evil game because zombies eat things. But in a weird way, I don't remember a monster that has taken quite this flavor of really, really focusing on the mouth and the teeth and making them really gross and disgusting and all that.
The interesting thing about this monster's design is that they are kind of human. So a lot of the times when you'll see like certain monsters in Resident Evil,
I see kind of Frankenstein, right? Like stitched together.
Yeah, it's exactly. And in other Resident Evil games, the monsters are clearly, they're mutated, but they don't even really look like anything other than just like a bunch of pustules and like tentacles and shit. So I'm always like, to me, there really is no design for a lot of those monsters. Interestingly enough, there are some zombies when they're not mutated, like Lady Dimitrescu, who's just a lady. And they are clearly straight human. So like this is sort of maybe a combination of the two. This monster that we see in this demo is maybe a little bit of mutation, maybe a little bit of human, or we're just reading into it too much, and it's just another scary monster that you're going to have to avoid. Like Lawrence, you were saying that you might have had a lore explanation for who this monster is, right?
I remembered hearing somebody theorize about who the character might be. But I thought somebody had said that it was Sherry from like Resident Evil 2 and then Resident Evil 6, but I feel like that's unlikely because I guess everyone in Resident Evil 6 was a Marvel superhero at some point, so I guess she has superhuman regenerative ability based on some variant of the G virus. I don't know. So yeah, who knows? Maybe that character over mutated and is now this like lumbering, tumor-filled, slavering zombie thing. It's hard to say. I'm trying to get a better look at the character. So yeah, what's weird is like it was all kind of going off of, you know, verbal accounts of what this monster looked like.
Lawrence and I are shooting this again way before the embargo, so we don't know.
Yeah, the internet hasn't really cashed in on this yet.
Yeah, and we could go and talk to other journalists about it, but they don't know either. So we're all and Capcom's not going to tell us. So we're all just sort of guessing. Like, we know that Grace is Alyssa Ashcroft's daughter, but I think people are theorizing that Grace is also Leon's daughter as well, and so that Leon will probably be in Resident Evil Requiem, and then so eventually, so I don't think the entire game is going to be you as Grace, but maybe it will be. Maybe a lot of it will be you as Grace, and sort of learning how to use guns and powers, sort of like Village was. That's how Village was. Ethan started that way. Ethan started with nothing, and the end of that game, you're a badass, which I loved. So maybe we'll do that too. So there's a lot of theorizing here just going on, just so you know. And so if we have the Resident Evil heads in the comments being like, "Come on, guys, it's blank from blank," like, we don't know.
Yeah, and it's fun to not know. I don't know. Resident Evil is a bit silly. A bit. It's actually very, very silly. So to some degree, lore connections in Resident Evil are only so valuable as the name is the same. But if a character from 5 games ago comes back as a hideous monster, does it really matter that it was it's fun to talk about, right? And that's kind of the fun of B-grade horror sometimes, is like, oh, this actor played this and was this person in this movie. So, it's fun to talk about, but yeah, I don't mind being wrong about it. I also don't think it's going to amount to much in the context of the game. Man, I'm getting a better look at this character though. It's messed up. Yeah, it's like the head is kind of like stitched in the middle. Again,
that could be a Resident Evil mutation, but it also could be...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It could be like a surgery thing, because we are in a hospital, and here, this is a hospital / mental asylum that they have put gates up, and they have put, like, they're clearly holding something in. So, like, and it's probably this terrible creature. And then they also put Grace in here just to keep her in there. And the entire demo is you trying to get a fuse to open the gate so that she can move on to the next area and stay away from that, super scary creature.
Yeah, very similar, I think, to the intro to Biohazard, where you're trying to stay away from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family, or the one dude who's just like bashing through walls and stuff to get at you. Yeah, it's when you don't know your character yet, and you don't know where you are, and you don't know what's trying to kill you. Like, that's when the game is at its scariest. And kind of like you said with the Ark and Biohazard, where you start off with a situation very similar to this, and yeah, by the end you've got shotguns and rifles, and you're upgraded, and got body armor, and you got 15 keys in your pockets. Yeah. So it's a fun ride though, and I do appreciate them kind of rolling it back with a new character and getting back to sort of horror basics. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how it builds off of this, because gameplay wise, and this is something I kind of noted, we really don't see anything new, aside from just Capcom getting really, really good at making these kinds of sections in Resident Evil games.
You're totally right. There isn't anything new here at all. And I remember thinking that about Village when I first started playing Village. I was like, Village is probably just going to be the same thing. And Village is maybe one of my most favorite paced games ever. I think the pace in that game is immaculate. I don't know that they just made an amazing single player video game that feels exactly like a single player video game should, when they're trying to do what they're doing with those characters. It's very much like a Half-Life, where I was like, man, this is like just perfectly paced. So if they stick with that in Requiem, I'm good to go. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, and Village had a great format too. I mean, it was almost like a theme park. It had the hub and spoke design, where there's kind of a central area, and you have a boss that has a themed land that they're kind of presiding over, and that way you get this like great sense of variability. The bosses have various monologues that kind of express their characters. I don't know. It's a really fun time. So yeah, we'll see. I wonder if I kind of get the sense that this might just be a spooky prologue before you get shipped off to the, sewage treatment lab / underground research base / secret military base / weird horticulture infatuation from some general that went insane. Yeah, maybe there will be some kind of labyrinthine complex that the game takes place in after that. The only thing that sticks out to me now that I didn't see before, the lighting. Like when Grace is walking with the lighter out in third person, and the light like goes through her hair into the camera, that looks so cool, and is a really good way to sort of make the character stand out in sort of rimmed highlight against the pitch black background. So that's a really cool look, and a really cool way to sort of like frame the character well on screen.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I really am. They keep surprising me with what they're doing over there at Capcom and making these single player Resident Evil games. So I'm excited for Requiem. It comes out in February, so we got a while. We got about 6 months, and I don't, if this gameplay is any indication, I think they're going to make a really super scary game.
I think so too. I'm glad that that's if this is what they're showing us, this is clearly the idea they want us to get about the game. And I think that it's safe to assume that it will be a sort of maybe like slower, more vulnerable, more roots survival horror experience. And yeah, they've got a great format with that they've only been improving on. So they're making another game where you pick up points and you buy upgrades and you upgrade your inventory and you carry around like I'm fine with that.
Me too. So I'm looking forward to it. And thanks again, Capcom. They didn't give me anything, Lawrence. I walked into an office building and I signed a NDA, played a game for an hour, and then left. So I didn't even get a water.
Damn, nothing to disclose. How about that? Doing it for love of the culture. Yeah, thank you, Bruce. And again, thank you, Capcom, for making awesome games and inviting us to check them out.